I should have flew earlier. It was just cloudy, but I guess the rain's coming down now. Let's see if it stops. And what did I read today? I guess this doesn't sound good. Apparently there was a drone strike that killed US troops, and that could be, I guess you could say, a way for one country to another to say it's war, correct? This one says 3 US troops killed, up to 34 injured in Jordan drone strike linked to Iran. 3 US service members were killed and dozens may be wounded after an unmanned aerial drone attack on US forces stationed in northeastern Jordan near the Syrian border, President Joe Biden and US officials said on Sunday. Biden blamed Iran-backed groups for the attack, the first deadly strike against US forces since the Israel-Hamas war erupted in October and sent shockwaves throughout the Middle East. While we're still gathering the facts of this attack, we know it was carried out by a radical Iran-backed militant group operating in Syria and Iraq, Biden said in a statement. It says at least 34 personnel were evaluated for possible traumatic brain injury, a US official told Reuters, speaking on condition of anonymity. 2 different officials said some wounded US forces were medically evacuated from the base for further treatment. 2 US officials said the drone struck near the barracks early in the morning, which could explain the high number of casualties. It makes me wonder if these are the same drones they keep talking about, those Shahed ones, for example, because there's been a lot of news recently about people supplying, I guess, Iran with drone parts and all that. And this is the case too, where people are just not equipped to, I guess, deal with things like a drone attack per se, especially ones that are designed for military use. It says, late last year, Amman asked Washington to deploy Patriot air defense systems to bolster its border defense. It has requested more aid to tackle drones used in a raging multi-billion-dollar drug war along the border of Syria, which Amman blames on pro-Iranian militias who hold sway in southern Syria. The kingdom has hundreds of US trainers in the country and holds extensive exercises with US troops throughout the year. So let's see what happens here. It makes me curious again whether or not these drones are the ones you often hear in the news, those Shahed ones and all that. And this was kind of interesting, as recently Apple lost a case against Epic Games, who makes the game Fortnite, with the accusation where Apple is a monopoly. They're charging people ridiculous fees to put apps in their stores, and some companies are doing it on their own website, which Apple at first was banning, let's just say, companies from doing that, from what I gather. So because they lost, they have to change in a lot of places. But apparently there's a little workaround where they're charging people fees anyways in other ways. Now other companies like Spotify are saying this is wrong. It says Apple's proposed changes reject the goals of DMA. For almost 5 years, 7,282 days, we have been asking the European Commission to take action against Apple. In a world that values competition and innovation, we found it unacceptable to stand by and allow gatekeepers like Apple to go unchecked. Sounds kind of interesting. How did they, I guess, get around this? It says a completely new 0.50 euro fee per download every year in perpetuity to Apple for just allowing developers to exist on iOS. This is extortion, plain and simple. If Apple's already charging a commission of 17% and a 10% for recurring payments on digital goods purchased, why would they also need to charge an annual flat fee for every user? That is kind of crazy actually when you think about it. And it says Apple is still charging a 17% rent on developers for existing in the App Store if they offer alternative payment methods or link out to their own website. Apple is making a developer's choice between the status quo and this new program as difficult as possible. Apple is now saying, sure, we'll let you link out or offer your own payment methods, but you still owe us a commission for even doing that, plus that new flat 0.50 euro fee. This combination of fees means that in most instances, if your app is popular, you would pay the same or even more to Apple than under the prior rules. Apple is making the DMA hurt even more for developers, throwing them an unworkable alternative that will stifle their business immediately. And then there's the point where people often say, hey, if you don't like this company or whatever, this platform, just go use something else, but is it practical in the long run? This one says, Apple is offering alternative app stores, but are they really? Spotify, like so many other developers, now faces an untenable situation. Under the new terms, if we stay in the App Store and want to offer our own in-app payment, we will pay a 17% commission and a 50-cent Euro Core technology fee per install and year. This equates for us to being the same or worse as under the old rules, and if we manage to remove our app from the App Store and only exist it in the alternative App Store, that would still not work. With our EU Apple install base in the 100 million user range, this new tax on downloads and updates will skyrocket our customer acquisition costs, potentially increasing them tenfold. This as we have to pay on every install or update to our free or paid app, even for those who no longer use the service. Wow, that's crazy. That's true. It's all that technicality, I guess, legally and all that. It's kind of funny too when you think about it, because I remember not too long ago when Apple wasn't big and let's just say phones or computers and all that, people would say, oh, we hope there's competition and all that, they'll do better than Microsoft and so forth. But it's kind of like one of those things where when companies get really, really big and all that, they almost end up being the same, huh? In terms of, I guess, just trying to get as much money as possible from people. So it's kind of interesting to see, I guess, what happens in this case here. Ultimately, for the average person, it doesn't really matter, I guess, for them. You'll just keep using whatever is the best solution for you, value-wise, correct? All right, see you guys later.